Have you ever wondered why humans are the only creatures on Earth who look up at the sky and feel like that's where we belong? Why do we instinctively reach for the stars, build rockets, and dream of distant worlds, while every other species is perfectly adapted to live right here? And why are our bodies so poorly suited for Earth's conditions? We can't drink seawater, our skin burns in the sky, we are born completely helpless and need years of learning just to survive. A newborn deer can walk within minutes of birth. A baby dolphin swims immediately. Even tiny turtles know exactly how to find the ocean. But human bodies are defenseless for years, taking months just to crawl, and over a year to walk. And why, despite billions of years of evolution on this planet, do we feel out of place here? Maybe the answer isn't about where we come from, but about who brought us here. Our DNA contains 223 genes that don't exist anywhere else on Earth. Not in chimpanzees, not in primates, not in any other living creature. Scientists call them orphan genes, and they openly admit they have no idea where they came from. Human evolution supposedly accelerated by a factor of 1,000, exactly 200,000 years ago. In that impossible window of time, our brains tripled in size. Even Darwin himself called human intelligence the greatest mystery, and admitted his theory couldn't explain it. Religions tell us humanity has a special role in the universe. We are the crown of creation, the chosen children of the gods. Our existence is often described as the ultimate purpose of the cosmos itself. But what if it's not true? What if our purpose is far simpler and far more primitive? In 1876, archaeologists uncovered the ruins of King Ashurbanipal's library in Nineveh. Over 30,000 clay tablets, the oldest library in the world. When translated, they stunned scholars. On Sumerian tablets, written over 4,000 years ago, was a story of humanity's creation. And that story differed from everything we used to hear. Enki mixed the clay of Abzu with the essence of the young Anunnaki. From this mixture, he created Lulu, primitive workers who would serve the gods in the gold mines. Not the image of God, not the crown of creation, just workers for the mines. Your first thought is probably, that's just a mythology, right? But here is the disturbing part. The language on Sumerian tablets isn't mythic. It's clinical, technical, like a lab report. The same tablets that describe the creation of humans also map up the solar system with astonishing accuracy, including planets we only discovered in the 20th century. They describe Earth's rotation, lunar phases, and stellar alignments with NASA-level precision. If they were wrong about astronomy, we could dismiss the rest, but they weren't. So what if they weren't wrong about us either? Imagine yourself as a programmer at a tech giant. You are tasked with creating AI workers to mine lithium on Mars. They need to be smart enough to run machinery, but not so smart they question their purpose. You succeeded. They are perfect workers. But then something unexpected happens. The AI begins to ask, who am I? Why am I here? What's my purpose beyond mining? They form relationships, create art, develop culture. Soon they forget they were ever designed, and come to believe they're involved naturally on Mars. Sound familiar, isn't it? Now replace programmer with Anunnaki, AI with humans, Mars with Earth, and lithium with gold. And here's the wildest part that inspired me to pay attention on this theory. Elon Musk wants to colonize Mars with a workforce. Mark Zuckerberg is building digital worlds for people to inhabit. Jeff Bezos dreams of asteroid mining. What if they are not innovating? What if they are just repeating a plan that was carried out 200,000 years ago? Only back then the role of Elon Musk was played by someone named Enki. A lot of unexplained scientific facts point to the possibility that we didn't come about through evolution or some higher purpose, but that we were actually created as a workforce. We have 46 chromosomes. All other primates have 48. It's like if all of a sudden people started being born with 2 heads or 4 arms. By the logic of natural processes, we shouldn't exist. And it gets even more weirder when you remember those 223 orphan genes. They appear in human DNA suddenly, with no evolutionary trail, like discovering advanced code inserted into basic software. Genetics call it horizontal gene transfer, but from where? Francis Crick, the Nobel Prize winner, who co-discovered the structure of DNA, was so puzzled by human genetics that he proposed directed panspermia, the idea that life on Earth and other planets was deliberately seeded by intelligent beings. He suggested that human DNA was simply too advanced to have evolved here naturally. Just think about it. The very scientists who revealed the structure of DNA looked at the human genome and said, this shouldn't exist. And yet, ancient Sumerian texts describe exactly the process Greek theorized about, and they were written 6,000 years ago. What if they don't describe divine magic? What if they describe genetic engineering? According to those tablets, the Anunnaki made several attempts at creating humans. Early versions were too primitive, strong but not intelligent enough. Later versions were too smart, asking questions, refusing to work. Finally, they found the balance. Intelligent enough to use tools and follow instructions, but psychologically programmed to accept authority and function in hierarchies. Now prepare to have your mind blow, because the Sumerian knew things they simply shouldn't have known. They described Uranus as a blue-green planet 4,000 years before telescopes. They knew Saturn had rings. They placed our solar system inside the Milky Way galaxy and mapped stellar formations with only photographed with modern space telescopes. They wrote about these things not as theories, but as memories. Their texts read like accounts of people who had traveled through space, not priests making guesses. They then described the home planet of the Anunnaki, Nibiru, with an elongated orbit that carried it far beyond the solar system for millennia before returning. Modern astronomers have now detected massive planetoids in the outer solar system with exactly this kind of orbit. The Sumerians also recorded advanced metallurgy, mathematics, and even what looks like nuclear physics. They described weapons that could turn cities to salt and create a poisonous wind that killed for generations. What if I told you that every major ancient civilization told the exact same story? Not similar myths, identical details, separated by oceans and centuries. The Egyptians called them Neteru, watchers, who came from the sky and gave civilization to humans. In India, they were the Devas, beings of light who descended from the heavens. The Greeks called them Titans, the first rulers who taught mankind arts and sciences. The Maya spoke of Kukulkan, the feathered serpent who brought knowledge from the stars. Different names, identical descriptions, tall beings with elongated skulls, advanced technology, and the ability to fly. They all came from the sky, created or elevated humans, taught civilization, and promised to return. Some people think this theory is just a myth, backed up only by Zecharia Sitchin's books. But let's not forget that all modern theistic religions trace their roots back to Sumer. I already talked about the origin of modern religions in one of my videos, so I'll drop a link to it in the description below. Sumerian mythology describes the origins of humanity no less convincingly than the Old Testament. The only difference is that, according to the Sumerian texts, humanity is just an experiment, not some grand divine plan. Neither science nor modern religions can fully explain what was going on here on Earth before the civilization we know about showed up. Massive stone structures across the globe require engineer precision we can barely replicate today. Pumapunku in Bolivia has stone blocks cut with tolerance of 0.02 millimeters, more precise than modern machine tools. Builders somehow moved 100-ton stones to an altitude of 12,000 feet. Ancient art constantly showed figures in what looks strikingly like spacesuits and helmets. Rock painting in Australia depicts humanoid figures with halos or headgear connected to backpack. Petroglyphs in India shows rocket-like craft and beings with breathing apparatus. Even our biology tells the story. Humans are the only species that cannot survive in nature without technology. No claws, no camouflage, no speed, no toxins. Every other animal is perfectly adapted to its environment. We don't fit anywhere. It's almost as if we designed for another world. Everything humans do instinctively lines up with what the Anunnaki supposedly programmed us to do. We naturally form hierarchies. Even nowadays, leadership structures emerge thematically. We instinctively follow authority and organize into systems with shared goals. We are compulsively driven to develop technology and explore beyond our environment. No other species behaves this way. Animals adapt to their surroundings. We change the surroundings to adapt to us. We cannot stop building, expanding, reaching for the stars. Every culture independently develops math, engineering, and tool-making. Even children raised in isolation create ways to count, shape objects, and build. Where did these universal drivers come from? Evolution doesn't naturally program such specific behaviors, unless they serve survival. Yet, many of our instincts seem to serve goals beyond individual or even species survival. What if they serve the goals of our creators? Look at what we are doing today. We're developing genetic engineering to create modified organisms for specific purposes. We are designing AI smart enough to perform complex tasks, but programmed to serve human interests. We are planning colonies on other planets, staffed by workers. The biggest tech leaders today are obsessed with the same goals as Anunnakis: space colonization, genetic modification, artificial intelligence, resource extraction from other worlds, as if they are acting out of predetermined script. And what about our technological progress? It's exponential, not gradual. In just 100 years we went from horse-drawn carriages to space travel. That's not normal evolution. That's acceleration. Meanwhile, sightings of UFO, now rebranded as unidentified aerial phenomena, after decades of denial, military and intelligence agencies openly admit these craft display technology beyond our capabilities. What if this isn't about alien visitors, but about our creators monitoring their experiment? The evidence doesn't prove the Anunnaki theory outright, but it doesn't disprove it either. And the deeper we dig into genetics, archaeology and our own technology, the more questions remain unanswered. So, what do you think? We are evolutionary accidents who got lucky, or engineered masterpieces with a purpose? Random mutations, or the greatest genetic project in history? Let me know what you think down in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. See you soon.